My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Please go ahead and share my latest article in the Daily Caller, Free Julian Assange. That's in the description section. In the pinned comment are my two latest H.A. Second Amendment videos. One with me shooting a 6-hour 1911. Not one that I own, just from the range. A gentleman on Second Amendment, H.A. Second Amendment channel said, "Oh, great, you purchased a great gun." No. I did purchase the 500 Smith & Wesson revolver, but not the 6-hour. But I was just trying it out, and it's an awesome firearm. Check out that segment below. It's only 2 minutes, and check out me shooting a .357 Smith & Wesson Magnum, and that's a lot of fun too. That's like 20 minutes of just me shooting at the target. You'll see the grouping's pretty good for, a guy, a former liberal who became an NRA member. So I'll keep this quick because I know that there are people who watch my channel who don't want to hear me go on and on, but I became an NRA member and a lifetime member of Gun Owners of America. It's like a $20 plan every month for like 25 months, but I just decided to do that, and I think both organizations are great. So I think I did a 5-year membership to the NRA. It's like $100, and yeah, so, and then a lifetime membership to the Gun Owners of America, but they allowed you like $20 plan every month. Anyway, so I am now a former liberal/progressive journalist who is now an NRA member, or liberal/progressive who is now an NRA member. Watch H.A. Second Amendment to find out how that happened. Breaking email show FBI brass discuss dossier details with CNN. The Federalist is awesome. And the Federalist is a very wonderful publication, and I would love to be published one day in the Federalist. I've been published in the Daily Caller, the Huffington Post, Salon, The Hill, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Roanoke Times, Baltimore Sun. That's a little trivia. I wrote an article on Martin O'Malley. The Jerusalem Post, the Times of Israel, but not the Federalist, and I'd love to be published there one day. Breaking email show FBI brass discussed dossier briefing details with CNN. So, how are they going to spin this, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, to my amazing subscribers, both left and right, and if you've been with me from day one, if you're progressive or independent or conservative, I thank you. And thanks for listening to my spiel and my enthusiasm on a whole bunch of things that you might not be interested in, but because you enjoy this channel, you continue to watch, and I really thank you for that. How are they going to spin this? How are they going to spin the fact that the FBI briefed details with CNN on a dossier that eventually led to BuzzFeed suing the DNC, a dossier that was purchased by Hillary Clinton, a dossier that was compiled by somebody outside the U.S. government? That's a pretty good recap of this insanity. A new email showed former FBI Director Andrew McCabe was surprisingly knowledgeable about CNN's understanding of and deliberation about a dossier briefing given to Donald Trump days before CNN ever reported on the matter. Newly revealed emails show that former Federal Bureau of Investigation Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was keenly aware of CNN's internal understanding of a secret briefing about the infamous Steele Dossier days before CNN published any stories on the matter. The emails, which were obtained by Senator Ron Johnson, also revealed that top officials used coded language to refer to the salacious and unverified allegations made by Steele. So how did Andrew McCabe know? How was he keenly aware of CNN's internal understanding of a secret briefing? How does that work? How is he keenly aware of CNN's internal understanding of a secret briefing about the infamous Steele Dossier? Former FBI Director James Comey briefed then-President-elect Donald Trump on January 6, 2017, on at least one unproven allegation contained in the Steele Dossier, which was jointly funded by Hillary Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee. This is from Sean Davis of The Federalist. CNN broke the story about the dossier briefing on January 10th, 2017, touching off a firestorm of hysteria that culminated in not just the firing of Comey by Trump, but the eventual appointment of the Department of Justice Special Counsel Robert Mueller. So they got what they wanted. They did get what they wanted. They got enough people around the country to believe that Russia helped Trump win the election. How and why, nobody knows. But I know very intelligent people who believe that Russia helped Trump. They have no evidence of anything. They keep on telling me. Look, I've had the most intelligent people in the world tell me, "Oh, well, you just wait." Well, how long do you want to wait? It's called evidence. Clinton did transfer. She actually did transfer top secret intelligence from Cypriot, JWICs, and SCIFs onto her server. That's called evidence of a crime. Comey claimed he was compelled to brief Trump on the dossier because, quote, CNN had it and was looking for a news hook. Okay, so how would the FBI know the Steele Dossier? Now, also, isn't the Steele Dossier classified information? And if not, why would you utilize non-classified information to begin an investigation? That's another question. And why would you utilize non-classified information to get a FISA warrant? If all you need is gossip and hearsay, send Clinton to both Clintons to jail. They actually wrote in one of the emails of 500 conflicts of interest in the Clinton Foundation. An actual Clinton Foundation official wrote that Bill, you can link Bill to 500 different conflicts of interest. Comey claimed that he was compelled to brief Trump on the dossier because CNN had it. Hours before Comey briefed Trump, FBI Chief of Staff James Rybicki emailed staff that Comey is, quote, is coming into HQ briefly now for an update on the sensitive matter team. Just as the same officials dubbed the Clinton email investigation the mid-year exam and the anti-Trump counterintelligence investigation Crossfire Hurricane, they also used various phrases using sensitive to refer obliquely to the dossier. 2 days after the briefing on January 8, 2017, former FBI Director Andrew McCabe, who earlier this year was fired and then referred for criminal prosecution by DOJ Inspector General for repeatedly lying about media leaks, wrote an email to top FBI officials with the subject, "Flood is coming." Flood is coming. Wow. CNN is going forward with the sensitive story, McCabe wrote to Comey, Rybicki, and 2 others. The trigger for them is they know the material was discussed in the brief and presented in an attachment. He did not detail how he came to know that what CNN's trigger was for publishing the dossier briefing story. Why are they even worried about CNN? Why are they worried about this? They've already briefed the president on a document that hasn't been corroborated. So this is bizarre on so many levels. Although the January 10 story from CNN also claimed that Trump was presented with a 2-page summary of the dossier, which was not part of the official intelligence community assessment given to Trump, Comey himself later claimed that he did not give the 2-page document to Trump, raising questions about whether McCabe himself was a source for CNN's assertion that Trump had been given the entire 2-page document during the briefing. Well, you can't take anything Comey says as truthful. I mean, it could be truthful, it could not be truthful. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what is valid or just a fabrication. Like Comey's memos were an entire fabrication. But, well, because he wrote them and there was hysteria because of the Steele Dossier, he was allowed to usher in a special counsel that was composed of Obama's FBI director and 13 out of 17 Democrats. Shortly after sending his email to Comey and other FBI officials, McCabe emailed then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates and her deputy Matthew Axelrod. McCabe used the subject line news in his email to the DOJ officials. Why? Okay. Just as an FYI and as expected, It seems CNN is close to running a story about the sensitive reporting. It is not clear how McCabe came to be so familiar with CNN's understanding of the dossier, its briefing, or how close CNN was to reporting on the matter. In a Monday letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray, Senator Johnson, who chairs the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, asked the director to provide a list of all members of the Sensitive Matters team, referenced by Rybicki. If you're part of the Sensitive Matters team, most likely, and it has to do with knowing or leaking the information to CNN, then you're probably also part of the team or correlated to the team under Peter Strzok that presided over the Clinton email cover-up, where top secret and special access program intelligence found its way, was transferred. They removed it from government locations, Cypernet, JWIC, SCIFs, perhaps other places within the U.S. government, places that only classified and top secret and special access program intelligence can reside, and they transferred that onto her private server, and that was okay for the counterintelligence team. Then, you're probably also aware, if you're at the FBI or the intelligence community, the IC, that GCHQ spied on Trump. And then we have an MI6 agent writing the Steele Dossier, getting paid by Clinton. And then you have Stephen Halper, who is an FBI mole, who is also tied to British intelligence. So the question here is, why is the UK so interested in helping us undermine Trump? And why does Brennan and Comey and Clapper, three guys you wouldn't trust? I mean, if they walked near me, I'd put my hand on my wallet. I'd put my hand over my wallet and make sure they didn't steal any, like a $5 bill. Why are they so interested in using the UK, British spies, as a buffer or conduit, or an alibi, or a way they can say, oh, well, it wasn't us who started it. It wasn't us who wrote the dossier. It was the British. No one's going to question the credibility of the UK. So people will question the credibility of the U.S. government. Americans will. But Americans are less likely, to just question. Well, when people first heard, they were like, well, really? GCHQ found information? Wow, could there be something? But there was nothing. So, I mean, imagine John Brennan, Imagine John Brennan, trying to get this done. Calling, I don't know, Harry Reid. When he met with Harry Reid, by the way, because he didn't want to meet with Obama. Hello, Harry. This is John Brennan. John O'Brennan. How are you today? I have to take a trip to Vegas. There's a nice little ranch I want to visit. What's the name of that ranch? Yes. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know the ranch I'm talking about. Okay, fine. I'll get to the point. We're going ahead and we're going to implement Operation PP. The PP Dossier operation. We have Comey and McCabe. Yes, they both yes, it's based on their home lives. Operation PP Dossier. Okay. But we've blamed it on the British. It'll have nothing to do with us. They're okay because if we say jump, they'll say how high. Okay. Well, you have a wonderful day. Okay. Okay, bye. So that's, I'm kind of out of it today. I could have made it more interesting, but that's the ranch. It's the chicken ranch. I'm not talking about KFC. So, That's the real question. Also, in addition to in addition to the spying and the media, so CNN is now a part of all of this, but it's also. And then Brett Baer's like, did you or your subordinates leak that? No, I don't know who leaked it. Did you ever try to find out? Baer asked. This is on Fox News. Comey scoffed at the idea the FBI would need to investigate the leak of a secret briefing with the incompetent president. What? Who leaked an unclassified document? Who leaked an unclassified document? Comey said, even though Baer's question was about leaking the details of the briefing of the incoming president. No. And who leaked an unclassified public document? It wasn't a public document before until after the meeting, buddy. Comey has his dates wrong. Did you or your subordinates leak that? No. I don't know who leaked it. Did you ever try to find out? Who leaked an unclassified public document? So he's trying to demean the Steele Dossier, the same dossier he used for a FISA warrant. So you can't just say, an unclassified document? Are you kidding me? Why would I care about that? Because you used it for a FISA warrant. Because you used it for the entire Trump-Russia collusion nonsense. Because you used it to further an outcome. The Mueller probe? Hello? I mean, they always want to have it both ways. Like, Obama never spied. Well, yes, there was a spy there. Obama didn't unmask names. We did. They did unmask names. Yeah. That did happen. Clinton's going to win. No, she didn't win. She's not going to win. And then, I'm the bad guy for reading. One guy claimed that I was spreading a conspiracy regarding the Clinton Foundation and uranium when I read the New York Times article verbatim, almost every segment. And all my segments, I'm reading information from reputable sources. I just read from the Federalist. You can't win because then people knock me for reading. Oh, he's reading again. But but then they don't realize that I'm reading when they say, oh, it's just crazy. It was debunked by Snopes. No, it wasn't debunked by Snopes. I never said that Clinton owned 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. This is a dumb Raw Story hit piece. Just the other day, because they couldn't stand my new H.A. Goodman Second Amendment channel. They're like, look at him. He's a Bernie supporter. He's a notorious, the guy called me a notorious progressive. Notorious progressive, H.A. Goodman. And then they're like, and he spreads this theory that Clinton was influenced by money. That's actually the New York Times article by Joe Becker and McIntyre. I'll read it to you right now. As a testament to this, I'll just read this article every day maybe, just to be myself. Cash flow to Clinton Foundation amid Russian uranium deal. This is by Joe Becker and Mike McIntyre. Okay, so why is it so difficult? As the Russians gradually assumed control of Uranium One in 3 separate transactions from 2009 to 2013, Canadian records show a flow of cash made its way to the Clinton Foundation. Uranium One's chairman used his family foundation to make 4 donations totaling $2.35 million. What has been debunked about that? Nothing's been debunked. Nothing. You have an FBI informant, William D. Campbell, who said, yeah, the Russians were bragging about their influence. So those contributions were not publicly disclosed by the Clintons, despite an agreement Mrs. Clinton had struck with Obama's White House to publicly identify all donors. Then you have Yellow Cake Uranium. Oh, I'm sorry. Then you have whether the donations played any role in the approval of the uranium deal is unknown. Well, I'm going to make that leap of logic. Just like it's actually a much more logical train of thought and leap of logic. Money flowed into the Clinton Foundation, and guess what? The uranium deal was what happened. And you had people like Gary Locke, who was part of the Committee on Foreign Investment, who was part of a Bill Clinton scandal. So we're supposed to believe that Trump got peed on because some person wrote about it. And that is enough evidence to start an investigation. But actual money, millions of dollars flowing into the Clinton Foundation is not enough to link A deal that is bad for the United States government. Yellowcake uranium was shipped out of the country. Another thing I sourced from this article. If cash flowed to the Trump Foundation amid Russian uranium deal, the Raw Story and everybody else would be saying that, yeah, it was the money that influenced Trump. But the episode underscores the special ethical challenges presented by the Clinton Foundation, headed by a former president who relied heavily on foreign cash to accumulate $250 million in assets, even as his wife helped steer American foreign policy as Secretary of State. So they raked in $250 million while she was Secretary of State. Oh, nothing to see there. That's conspiracy. Not. It's in the New York Times. This is also in the article. Mr. Christensen, 65, noted that despite assurances by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission that uranium could not leave the country without Uranium One or Rosatom obtaining an export license, which they do not have, yellowcake from his property was routinely packed into drums and trucked off to a processing plant in Canada. What is difficult about that to understand? Asked about that, the commission confirms that Uranium One has, in fact, shipped yellowcake to Canada, even though it does not have an export license. Instead, the transport company doing the shipping, RSB Logistics, has the license. So the Rosatom and Uranium One, all they needed to do was just use the shipping licenses, export licenses of American shipping companies. Uranium went to Canada, then where do you think it went? Of course, to Russia. Putin is, you're not dealing with you're dealing with chess players. They're very, very smart. Putin is very smart. He's not stupid. He's not going to be like, oh, we can't, no export licenses, OMG. So anyway, I go ahead and I quote. All of this is connected. Obama has been one of the most corrupt presidents we've ever had, but you wouldn't know it because the media is just as corrupt, maybe even more corrupt. Politicians will always do their thing, but it's the media that you need to rely on to actually, shine a light. That's why WikiLeaks and Julian Assange are so important. That's why if Julian Assange was ever arrested and the United States and extradited to the U.S., I would not vote for Trump anymore. Okay, and then if he destroyed a country like Libya, like Obama and Clinton did. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Definitely go ahead if you are into firearms and the Second Amendment. It's a new gun channel called H.A. Goodman Second Amendment. It's growing. I'm almost at 3,000 subscribers, and it's been I think less than a week. I mean, it's growing, and I'm not like Hickok 45, or I love Hickok 45. I love all of these channels. Collier Noir, the Yankee Marshal, Demolition Ranch. There's a lot. Kentucky Ballistics is a good one. Iraq Veteran 8888 is one of my favorite. I watch Gun Gripes like every day. Do you understand? I watch Gun Gripes every day. If you're watching this channel now, you're like, oh no, here he goes again with his stupid interest in guns. Why am I even watching? I apologize. I thank you. But you're my 23-minute crowd. So my 23-minute crowd, I love you. You're probably not too upset that I'm focused on that. But Iraq Veteran 8888 is awesome. And I watch the Gun Gripes. It's such an amazing, they're amazing segments. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Share this segment and share my 2 segments below everywhere. I told you in the beginning I joined the NRA and the Gun Owners of America. And I did so for one simple reason. All these tragedies have a lot more to do with human beings and what influences human beings to commit heinous acts than an inanimate object used by, Chelsea Handler's bodyguards or the Secret Service to protect the president as they should. Homeowners, if you have a business around the country, but also the way I use, not only for home protection, but the way I use firearms is When I'm shooting a gun, I am focused. Just bear with me. I know you're like, oh no, not again. This guy. For people who enjoy this, they'll know what I mean. When I'm at the range, and this one, I'm sorry, this one is like, this one person on my last segment, he's like, that's an ugly range. And then he said something that I didn't really appreciate. But the thing is, my camera was focused upwards, and it was a different range than the one I had been going to. But still, it doesn't matter. If you just point downwards, it looks beautiful. Up, they're like these, it looks like, a warehouse. But whatever, okay? He was critiquing the range that I found kind of funny. The way his insult / comment was hilarious, but didn't really appreciate it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. When you're shooting a firearm, you're focused. You're focused at a target, which is a paper target. Okay? Millions and millions of people enjoy and use guns for protection and for enjoyment and for pleasure. I don't play video games with heads exploding. I don't really watch that many action films. I can't afford bodyguards. And more power to Chelsea Handler or Alyssa Milano if they have people with guns around them. But don't take away the right of American citizens to either protect themselves or enjoy themselves. And the notion that somebody would have to reload, it would make it difficult for a person who's unopposed to reload. The whole point is like, well, no, you can't have an unlimited amount of bullets in a magazine. You have to have only 10 in California. So that's going to stop an insane, maniacal, sick, demented, twisted, evil person from a copycat killing, a copycat crime. I'll debate anyone regarding the Second Amendment and gun control. Gun control is really controlling the access to firearms for law-abiding citizens. You can't just buy a gun. And in California, it's not just easy. 10-day waiting period. They check your background, if the state and federal, if you have any felonies, all of these things. It is the people who are committing crimes in gun-free zones, in places of the country that handguns are banned, and there's handgun violence. You're not going to stop what they've done. What they've done is this, and this is one reason I take such enjoyment in joining the NRA and Gun Owners of America. And if there's other Second Amendment organizations, I'll join them. You just let me know below. But there's a cult mentality on the left. The cult says the NRA allowed this. The NRA allowed this. No, the NRA doesn't allow anything. The NRA defends the rights of law-abiding people. If crazy people or people intent on committing crimes or intent on committing horrible actions take an inanimate object, there's also knife violence knife and gun violence in London, but knife violence just recently it surpassed New York in terms of murder rate, and guns are impossible to get or illegal, banned in London, in the UK. The average person cannot, purchase a firearm the way they can here. There's no Second Amendment. So you're blaming an inanimate object, but you would never in a million years force Hollywood not to showcase guns or, not to film action films where people are shot and there's guns and, explosions. You would never tell the gaming community not to utilize all these different firearms and have heads explode, all that stuff. You would never infringe upon the First Amendment rights of people who make a whole lot of money in Hollywood, utilizing guns to enrich themselves and using guns to protect themselves once they're rich and famous. But a guy like me, a guy or a girl like you, watching this channel, if you're a law-abiding citizen of any background, there are Black Gun Owners of America, African American Gun Owners of America associations. There are different associations of gun owners. For people throughout the country want to enjoy this freedom that we have. So, and you're making it for law-abiding people of all different backgrounds. You're making it difficult. And also, by the way, Let's say you live in an area of the country where there's a straight handgun ban. You're protecting your house from people who don't care about the handgun ban. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman Second Amendment. Also to this channel. I apologize for my long-winded, rant, but it's important. You can't go ahead and have people on the left say, Russia did it, blame Russia, destroy Libya, regime change, send more soldiers to Syria, go ahead and believe the intelligence community as they ship weapons everywhere on the planet. And it's $500 million to train 5 Syrian rebels. Yeah, right. That's in the Time magazine article, okay? I'm linking everything I say. You can link to sources, okay? But oh my God, gun control, Clinton Foundation weapons deal scandal. But gun control here, even though you had greater access to firearms in years past, and none of this happened. I wonder what took place. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Definitely go ahead and share my 2 segments in the pinned comment. Me with a SIG 1911 and me with a 357 Smith & Wesson. Quick question for any of the gun people still watching. The SIG actually jammed before I actually took that 2 minutes. So the clip was jammed in the gun, and the instructor came and just fixed it. Actually, just pulled it down. Do you find that SIG 1911 sometimes jam? And if so, are Berettas a lot better? Give me your thoughts on that below. Thank you so much for listening.